Welcome to Subramani. I'm going to talk about client risk tolerance, risk understanding, and risk composure, and the need to take risk, right? So what happens is regulators around the world, not just in India, expect a financial advisor, by whatever name called, to be able to sit with the client and do the client's risk profiling. Now, risk profiling is an exercise which you do over maybe 1 hour kind of a period, when you sit and ask the client how will you react if the market falls 20%, market falls 30%, etc. You may not do it, you may delegate some younger boy or girl to do it, and that person who is being asked these questions maybe about 50 years of age, and he has never gone through this risk profiling ever. He does not want to disappoint the boy or girl, so he will come out with some answers which are exactly off the cuff and right, but later on he might change this. A person's risk tolerance also changes whether he is sitting with his wife and doing it or whether he is doing it alone. It also changes whether he is himself doing it online or whether a boy or girl is sitting with him and physically doing it. So it changes about with everything. Every factor can change his risk profiling. It may even change whether he is doing it pre-lunch or post-lunch. If he is hungry, he might show more impatience, so he might just go on ticking and say, oh, it's over, right? So may not have much of application of mind. So why am I emphasizing all this so much is simply because when a person does not know his risk profile or her risk profile, chances are in a booming market they will pitch way above their weight, right? So if their risk tolerance is here and the market is booming, they think they are here. That's the problem, because they look at their portfolio on a daily basis and say, wow, this is actually paying me more than my day job, so should I not leave my day job and come here? So that means a very optimistic mindset. So when in a bull market, people are likely to pitch higher. In a bear market, they're likely to pitch lower. The advisor's job is to find the correct balance, and it actually takes a very long period of time before you can really come to the client's risk profile and be able to convey it. For example, I have seen people who are now 57, 58, whom I can say, this is not right, you can't take so much of risk, this is wrong, right? That kind of stuff. But whether a young 25-year-old financial advisor will be able to do it, I don't know. For me, there is no problem of conflict of interest, because I am not charging them a fee for giving them this advice, nor am I selling a product to them. But somebody who is selling products or charging a fee has to be far more accurate in the risk profiling than I can be. And I do risk profiling only for friends and say, no, this you can't afford. You should not be doing this. You can't put 2 crores in a AIF or a PMS. It's beyond you, because you don't have enough liquid assets, right? So some of the advice is something which I can give because they're asking me on a friendly basis. And far more importantly, I have no consequences. I'm not charging them a fee for giving that advice. Now, this is very important for you to understand that after having done this kind of a risk profiling, finding out that the client is pitching way above his weight, what will you really do? You run the risk that you tell the client to withdraw more money from equity and put it into debt. He'll say, no, but my bank manager said this is a great time to be putting money in a balance advantage fund or a flexi cap fund, depending on which NFO he is handling. There's a good chance that some of the assets will walk away to some other advisor who is saying, oh sir, I think you can take more risk. Will you be right, will you be wrong, depends on how quickly the market moves in the other direction. So when there is no need to take risks. Suppose it's an older client, say 60 years of age or 65 years of age, has got adequate money for living the rest of his life to the lifestyle that he wants. Don't try to optimize return. Try to minimize risk. That is far more important. He does not want to leave a very big amount of money for his children, right? So make sure that you keep on reducing the risk. Suddenly when the client is 70, you realize that he need not be in any equity at all. He's got enough capital for it to be completely in debt, which means what happens when the client is taking more risk than what he actually needs to take? Well, he runs the risk that when the markets are weak or when the markets start falling, he might be the first to run away from the market, and that is the maximum damage that can happen. So, and even, he may even come back to you and say, look, you said what you said was right, now I want to be with you. You have to be extremely careful, because this client will behave very differently when the markets start going up. He will push you to take more risk. Even after signing off saying this is the maximum risk that I can take, he will take risk more than what is needed, especially if he is living up to peer pressure. Somebody will come and tell him the greatest sign of success is when you buy a house far beyond what you can afford. Well, they don't say far beyond what you can afford, but they'll say, oh, ek acha ghar to hona chahiye. Let people should know that you're earning. Exactly what Warren Buffett calls the external scorecard. The external scorecard exists, and the external scorecard is very important for very many clients, right? So they will want to buy a 3 BHK or a 4 BHK or shift from a house with a cheaper locality to a more expensive locality. They will want to do all that stuff, right? So it is for you to know how much of risk he can actually take. So sit with the family, call them over to your house or to your office, and then do the risk profiling in absolute peace. Make sure that the phones are put off. Ask and quantify. For example, don't just say, if the market portfolio falls by 30%, what will be the impact? Say, sir, you have 1 crore in assets today. If it falls 30%, it means 30 lakhs of loss. You will be left with 70 lakhs. Is that okay? Quantify it. Don't just say, oh, this is the 30% fall. 30% of 1 lakh and 30% of 10 crores is not the same, right? People perceive bigger amounts very differently. Like, for example, everybody whom you meet today says, oh, in PPF we were getting 12%. But uncle, 12% you were getting when inflation was 13%. So you were getting -1. Now you are getting 7%, of maybe inflation is 8%, so you are getting -1. So nothing has really changed in terms of real interest rates, but this perception is not there, right? You find very, very competent advisors saying interest rates are now low. Does not matter whether interest rates are low. What you have to see is whether you have the capacity to repay the loan, right? That is far more important. So this is just an example. So when the client cannot estimate his or her own risk tolerance, it becomes more incumbent on you and your team to be able to sit with that person and find out, so that there is no bad blood when the market goes down, because he is going to blame you for not selling off at the right time. Let's say the market is 55,000 or 56,000 in Sensex today, and it goes to 60, and you had asked the client to remove some money at 56,000 and repay his home loan, right? You did it. You have already done it. It happened day before yesterday. And then the market goes up, especially if he's doing direct equity, the share that he had goes up, right? He'll tell you, arey, galat advice de diya, I need not have sold. But when the market goes down, after some time, say it went up to 60 from 56 and then came down to 52, he is not going to thank you for this, because he was bound to turn around and say, look, I could have sold it at 60, as if you knew that that is what is going to happen, right? So these things will happen. It is for you to find out how the client reacts and what the client does, and based on that update his risk profile, because a wrong risk profile ends up in bad product selection and ends up in client under too much stress. So he might not even tell you, but he will just go and redeem the money exactly at the worst possible time, like in March 2020 or April 2020 would have perhaps been the worst time to remove your money from, which I am saying in hindsight, right? So if you create a portfolio which is reasonably less stressful for him or her, chances are they will not redeem completely wrong timing, right? They will not redeem in a completely wrong time. They will not look at real estate, they will not look at equity or real estate on a day-to-day basis, right? So find out all that, and also realize the client is being fed on a lot of data and information from outside. So based on that, his risk profiling can change, his understanding can improve, or it can get worse. It is for you to understand all that as to why his risk profile is changing, and why he is behaving in a particular way. Thank you.